Well, here's an LP, Robert Johnson, King of the Delta Blues Singers, and this is all the best of Robert Johnson. The other LPs that were produced by CBS weren't so good. This one has all the classic tracks on it, and I thought they were all in open G. So I put on the record, first were Crossroads, Terraplane Blues, Common in My Kitchen, Walking Blues. They're all very much in Spanish tuning, open G, tuned up probably a tone, sometimes a tone and a half. The first one that is problematic is Kind-Hearted Woman Blues, which is in A-ish, and I thought, well, he wouldn't have retuned his guitar. So I played it something, this is in Spanish tuning, approximately. I played it like this. As you can see, I'm not getting it note for note, and that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I was just trying to get the feel of it in open G, and that worked fine for me, and I still have never bothered to try and learn it in normal tuning from that day. Next side of the record come the difficult ones. Preaching Blues. Preaching Blues is obviously in a key where the top note is the key you're playing in. So I thought, well, why he wouldn't have retuned, so I had to try and play in D. I think it's tuned up a couple of tones, more like E on the record. So Preaching Blues starts with a sort of it goes something like that. I'm using a D and a G as the bass notes, but because they're damped, you don't really notice that it's not a D and an A. And I think I've seen other people play it in open D and they're going. I just don't feel comfortable with that in open G because I've got too many notes that aren't in D. I've never played it in front of anyone before, but I do use the same rhythm in open G. So if someone's playing a sort of rhythm in G, I'll go. So instead of using the top string, the D string, I'm using the G string to bounce down, just as Robert Johnson did on the D string. You can also turn it into a 12 bar if you want. And so on. So that's quite good. Right, next one. When You've Got a Good Friend. No slide on this one. Again, similar key to Preaching Blues in D, and he starts it with a very similar turnaround to the one he does on Kind-Hearted Woman, which is, but it's in D, so it starts up here. And then that dumpty dumpty dumpty. So, you know, not to my ears it was more or less note for note at the time, and I've been quite happily playing something like that in D ever since. Next one, Rambling On In My Mind. Very similar structure to When You've Got a Good Friend, except he uses a slide. Bit problematic because the first, some of the slide notes, you need to have that interval. So what I'm doing, I'm fretting on the 10th fret and playing the slide on the 12th. So I'm getting a bit of vibrato on the top note, but not on the second. But and then much as when you've got a good friend. And so on. So very similar, and I was quite happy with that sort of thing. What's next up? Stones in My Pathway, another obviously Spanish, well to my ears it was. Travelling Riverside, again another Spanish one. Milk Cow Blues, Spanish. Me and the Devil, Phew. Again that's very like Kind Hearted Woman, with the same shape here. I think if you're playing in normal tuning it's like a little D7th shape on the 9th fret, but I'm having to play it that a rather strange extended, and then the rest is just a sort of straight 12 bar. Now the really difficult one, Hell Under My Trail, I can't really make head nor tail of it. It sort of starts very interesting. This is a D7th chord that most people in Spanish will know, and he's just raising the little finger. It's the first finger, very similar to the that you'd be familiar with if you've ever played Terraplane Blues. So it's down here, and this push is very similar to When You've Got a Good Friend. That's what it's just, and the rundown is very similar to the When You've Got a Good Friend and most Elmore James tracks where Elmore's playing slide. He's very similar, and that's basically it. The second Robert Johnson LP I never bothered with because virtually all the tracks were somehow lacking in feel compared with the first one. So this is possibly why anyone who heard this first thought Robert Johnson was the greatest blues singer in the world, and anyone who heard this first thought he was a very adequate blues player. Anyway, next video I hope to show how you can play in all the different keys with ease on a 12 fret guitar with no problems at all. Thanks very much for watching.